Okay, this web page that I'm looking at, I've got it open in Firefox and I also have it open in Google Chrome. I'm using local storage in order to save things that I'm typing in these various text areas. I've went over local storage before. I'm just going to go over this particular page one more time. I have a folder here called Journal Week, and the only thing that's in that folder is if I click on journal heading.png, it's an image, and I'll show you what that looks like. See, it's an image that I made in Paint, and you can see as the window gets smaller, the image gets smaller. So it stretches with the window. Now let's close out of there. And then I've got this journal.html web page, which you can see here in the middle and the right. They're opened up in browsers. And over here on the left, I have the code opened up in Notepad++. Let me start reading the code off to you. Since I only have one file here, any styles that I'm using and any JavaScripts that I'm using is going to just be right in the page itself. So beginning HTML tag, there's the head, there's the title, weekly journal. You can see up here in the tab of this browser and the tab of this browser it says weekly journal. Also, this triple line right here, if I click on it and then click the question mark here, it says About Firefox. If I click About Firefox, it'll check for updates, and it did update Firefox. So this is 47.0.1 is supposedly the most recent version of Firefox as of right now. And if I do the same thing over here, this is Google Chrome, I go to Help, and you can see About Google Chrome shows up there. For some reason, when I clicked the About Google Chrome earlier, it was really taking its time as far as checking for updates. I wanted to update this as well. And if it does the same thing while I'm doing this video, see, it's got this version 51.0.2704.103 and then an M. I don't know what the M stands for. Oh, nearly up to date. That's weird. Relaunch Google Chrome to finish updating. Okay, that's new. Let's hit relaunch. Most of you probably already know how to update your browser, but just in case you don't, I'm showing you how to do it in Firefox and Chrome. Now I'm waiting on Chrome to relaunch. And hopefully it'll still have saved whatever local storage saved in the previous version. I'm not sure. I mean, it didn't have a problem. It didn't erase anything that was in Firefox here. I'm just not positive about Chrome since I'm doing it right now while I'm videotaping. I guess I should call it screen recording because it's not a videotape. Okay, it's taking its time. Wow. Okay, so Google Chrome is now up to date as well. Google Chrome has a slightly pointier browser tab. Firefox has a slightly more rounded browser tab. And good, it still saved these things down here. If you can realize, this is the exact same file, this journal.html. In Notepad++, I hit run, and one time I hit launch in Firefox, and that gave me this one in the middle. And then I hit over here and I ran it again, but this time launch in Chrome, and that's what this is over here to the right. When I saved my file, journal.html, when I opened it in Firefox and I typed these things in here on a Sunday, it saved this in Firefox, but when I opened it up in Chrome, it did not save the same stuff. So it only saves whatever you type while you're in the browser, and then you open back up that same browser. Otherwise, you see that this is different. You have Sunday 1 here, eggs, Sunday 2, bacon, Sunday 3, toast, and this is just random stuff I filled in here. Sunday 4, lemon pie. Down here, the exact same web page saved in Google Chrome, I did Monday, leftover chili or chicken noodle soup. Monday 2, salmon patty, applesauce, orange drink. Monday 3, there's nothing. And Monday 4, salmon burgers, leftover veggies like corn, spinach, or black-eyed peas. So it's the exact same journal.html web page, but it's open up in two different browsers and it's saved two different sets of information. What else did I want to show you before I get into all the rest of the code? I might as well show you the beginning of the code here and just work my way down. HTML head, title, weekly journal, I already went over there. Here's the beginning style tag. It's still in the head, and let's go all the way down here. There's not a whole lot of style going on, but there's the style. Let's start back to the beginning, purple here. For the body, in the curly braces, I gave the body a margin of 0 pixels and a padding of 0 pixels. The table, I gave border thick black solid, border collapse, and margin auto. For table header and table data cell, both of those elements, border thick black solid and a width of 20%. Then just for the table header only, I gave that element a background color of tan. Iframe, I don't have an iframe in here, so let me just take that off. Save it. I do have an image, and I gave the image tag a style of width of 100%. Then here I wanted to show you something that I didn't realize, and I was getting kind of frustrated because I know I made this class and I know that it worked before. And what this class does is, you can see this note that I wrote to myself, rotate text. So it's .z, which means class Z, and I'll show you in the body what I gave class Z. Each of these headers right here, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I gave it a class of Z because I wanted it, instead of saying Sunday from left to right, I wanted it to be on this diagonal. I saw the code, I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to use it, and I know that it worked before. But then I was looking at it recently and I'm like, what the heck? I can't figure out what it is about the style that's not working anymore. Well, very funny thing is, you cannot use comment marks like this. Even though this made this text green, so you're thinking, okay, it's a comment, it should not affect anything. Because it's inside of the style tag, you cannot use this or it will affect the style, because there's really nothing wrong with this .c and everything in these curly braces. All of this is fine and dandy, but as you can see right here, see how they have that comment, the / IE9 */, it's not green, so I'm thinking, how come that's not giving me a problem? It's not green. And same thing right here, / **, and then everything inside the **/. It's also not green. So this is a comment and this is a comment. So in order for me not to ruin this style, for whatever reason I don't know, I have to make that comment like this. I have to change it to what I thought it was supposed to be. So it's not green, but watch what happens when I save it. When I save it this way, and again, it's because these are styles inside of a style tag, watch what happens when I refresh my pages. And this better not make me a liar. See? I get my .z class Z style here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and if I go down a little further, Saturday, it put all that stuff in a nice little angle. Gave it a background color of yellow. I've got a little ridged border here. And of course, if I refresh this browser as well, you get the change in the style. So let me show you the style that did that, this .z that I created, Class C. I gave it a font size of 20 pixels, a text align of center, a background color of yellow, and this statement right here is what does this little diagonal ditty. -ms-transform rotate -10 DEG for degree, and that has to be in parentheses like this. Exactly the way you see this line, it has to be done. And supposedly that's for, I guess that's for Internet Explorer 9. Then you have another statement right here that I suppose is for Chrome, Safari, or Opera, because that note is after that. It says, let me highlight it, -WebKit-transform rotate, and then -10 degrees in parentheses there as well. And don't forget the ending semicolon for the statement. Again, this is just a note to self within the style tags. Then we have this transform statement, transform rotate -10 degrees. So we have 3 different statements to do it, and it's all to make it browser compatible. So it doesn't matter if you're in Chrome, Safari, Opera, or Internet Explorer 9, you should get this style right here of cocking your text off to the side, diagonal. So you got MS transform rotate with something in parentheses of degrees, -10 degrees. You've got WebKit transform rotate, -10 degrees. And you've got just regular old transform rotate, -10 degrees. Border thick tan ridge, margin 3 pixels. So all of that is the style for .z, which means Class C. If I were to take the negative off of -10 degrees, I'll show you. I'll save that, and then I'll show you how it gives it a different diagonal. So negative makes it go one way, and a positive number makes it go another way. So if I save this, that'll move that over as well. So I'm going to put this back to negative the way it was, because that's the way I prefer it. Save it, refresh. See, that moves all of those. Refresh this, and it moves all of those. Okay, text area. Every white area here that you can type in is a text area. So here we have height 85 pixels, width 150 pixels, and resize none. That gives me each of these white boxes that we can type in. Then I have 3 buttons. The pound means ID, so I have ID save button, comma, ID remove button, and comma, ID keep button, and it's got BTN for short. And the different styles I have for all of these buttons right here, if I move up, you see save it, remove it, keep it in both browsers. Background color green, width 100%, border 5 pixels green outset. Alright, so basically that's all the styles that this page has. There's the end of the style tag, and there's the beginning of the script tag. Now there's a whole lot of stuff going on for the script. For each and every one of these white boxes that's a text area that we can type in. See, if I put my cursor in here like on Wednesday, you see that my cursor is blinking, and I could just type blah 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 blah. That's for Wednesday. That's for Wednesday for Firefox. As a matter of fact, let me just type, this is the Firefox browser. And then for Friday, and this is Google Chrome, let me type, this is the Google Chrome browser. Okay, now if I hit save it, that will save this little comment that I gave Wednesday with this column of 1. And if I save this, use the save it button, not the refresh button, not the refresh arrows to reload the browser, but the save it button that I created in my code. That's what you need if you want to save what I just typed, or if you want to save anything that you type in any of these boxes, you have to hit save it. Be careful not to click remove it, because this remove it will remove every single text in every single text box. And again, because this is another browser, this is going to save this particular information in the Friday column 1. This is the Google Chrome browser. Alright, so function SaveMyStuff. Function SaveMyStuff is going to be called when we click the Save It button here. var value1 equals document.getElementById in single quotes and parentheses Sun1. So here for Sunday in column 1 where it says eggs, I gave this text area an ID of SUN1, Sun1. So we're referring to this text area when we use var value1, we're setting that equal to document.getElementById sun1.value. So from here to here, that's one statement. Then we're going to make a second statement right here that says localStorage.setItem key sun1, comma value 1. So here we're creating a key, comma, value pair that is going to allow our browser to save whatever we type in here via its local storage. Okay, so here var value 1, we're creating the value, and when we get to the localStorage.setItem, in the parentheses, the first key is going to be enclosed by a set of single quotes, then a comma, and then the name of the value that we created. So this first thing is the key, and then a comma, and then the value. So here's our key, here's our value, and this is our whole thing in parentheses is called our key value pair. That when used with local storage and the .setItem method, it's going to allow us to save whatever we type in here. Now we're going to create over and over and over again for each one of these text areas. Now if I open up this fully, you'll see we have, of course, we have 7 rows for each day of the week: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then we have 4 columns named 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now when I did this before, I called this like weekly menu or something like that. That's what I created up here instead of this image that says journal week. And I believe I had, instead of 1, 2, 3, and 4 as the column titles, I think I had it breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. But you can use this for anything. I called this particular one journal because I thought, well, if I want to do little journal snippets a few times in the course of my day, whether it's about exercise, whether it's about something that I'm reading, keeping track of whatever I happen to want to give myself a note about, I could just throw it in here and take advantage of this little code thing that I created. Plus, get experience in how well does this local storage stuff really work. I mean, it's okay to just play around with, as long as there isn't anything that if I lose I'm going to be really upset, since I'm just experimenting with this and I just don't know how easy it is to lose important information. So basically I can't just whip out code and not test it. So this is basically me testing it. I notice that right now this text area is not taking up the entire table data cell that it's in. I don't know if you could see this, but there's a very faint line here, and I really don't want it to look like that. I would prefer my text area to stretch to the width of whatever the table data cell is. So if it's big like this, I would like the text area to expand. So let me look in my style under text area. Let's see, in my style I have body, I have table header and table data cell, I have table header, I have image, then I have this class.z for rotating the text, And here I have a height of 85 pixels and I have a width of 150 pixels. What I would prefer would be a width of 100%. If this works properly the way I want, the width of the text area will be as wide as the container of the element that it's contained within. So let's save that and refresh the page. And that's what I want. You can't tell easily, but that very thin line that was representing that text area has now opened up the full size of this table data cell that it's contained inside. So that's how I prefer that. Okay, let me minimize this a little bit. And let me save this as well. So this way I'm testing both how my code looks in Firefox and how my code looks in Google Chrome. All right, let's go back down. Let's go back to SaveMyStuff. I already went over this section right here, the code for this particular text area, that, and here it says eggs. In Google Chrome there's nothing typed in it, but it's the same text area. And var value 2 equals document.getElementById sun2.value, one statement. The second statement is localStorage.setItem key sun2 comma value 2. So there's the key value pair for this second text area, where here in Firefox it's got bacon and here in Chrome it has nothing. The next one, var value 3 equals document.getElementById sun3.value and localStorage.setItem key sun3 comma value 3. This is going to handle this text area, where here in Firefox it's got toast and here there's nothing in Sunday column 3 at all. In Google Chrome there's nothing. And I don't want to take forever and a day because all of these are basically copy and paste. Here we're going to change value 3 to value 4, and sun 3 is going to be changed to sun 4, and key sun 3 is going to be changed to key sun 4, and value 3 is value 4. So this is going to be copied and pasted over and over again until we handle every single text area in our table. And again, we've got 7 days of the week. We have 4 columns for each. 7 times 4 is 28. So we are going to have a total of 28 of these copy and paste. So if I just go down here real quick, we should eventually get to var value 28, and that'll be the last one. See, right here's the end of SaveMyStuff. That's the end of that function. And right here is the very last one. Var value 28 equals document.getElementById sat4. Now we're all the way down to Saturday, sat, and then the column is 4, so I named it sat4 for short, dot value, and then the last statement is localStorage.setItem key sat4 comma value 28. See, we create the value right there. We set it equal to document.getElementById sat4.value, and then we use the localStorage.setItem to set that key value pair, key sat4 comma value 28. Alright, so there's the function for the Save It button. The function for the Keep My Stuff button, I don't really care too much about the Keep My Stuff button, and I did go over this in a previous video, and I'm going to go over it again. The keep it right here, the button that says keep it, basically does everything that the Save It button does by calling the function that the Save It button calls, plus it disables a few things. So let me hit keep it and show you. If you noticed, everything that was inside of the text areas went from black to a lighter gray. And so when I click my mouse inside of any of these text areas, I don't get my insertion point and I cannot type anything in here. So I've disabled every text area, And if you notice, you cannot read the value, the face of either of these top two buttons. All you see is the one that says keep it. If you click on either of the top or the middle button here, those two buttons are also disabled. The only thing that's not disabled here is the keep it. And actually, if I refresh the page, okay, refresh the page didn't do it. If I close out of here and then run that again in Firefox, the buttons and the text areas that were disabled will be enabled again. So the disable feature is only good while the browser session is open. When you close out of it and then reopen it, your elements are enabled. So it's not a permanent thing, disabling it. And it's taking forever to come back. There we go. Okay, so you can see eggs and bacon. All of this is black again. I can click inside all of these and I could, type something. Hit save it. Now it's saved everything. Okay, so keep my stuff. It calls save my stuff right here in line 113. It's calling the save my stuff function, and then it's doing a couple of statements. It's saying document.getElement by ID remove button dot disabled equals true. Then it's saying document.getElement by ID save button dot disabled equals true. And pay attention to the double quotes or single quotes and how everything is. I'm just going to read it, so just pay attention to how it's typed. So we disabled those two buttons, and then this first line is going to disable this text area. Document.getElement by ID sun1.disabled equals true. Document.getElement by ID sun2.disabled equals true. Document.getElement by ID sun3.disabled equals true. And document.getElement by ID sun4.disabled equals true. So that will disable all four of these text areas. So you'll have the save it button disabled, the remove it button disabled, and eggs, bacon, toast, lemon pie, those will be disabled. So then we take this whole batch of statements, these four statements, and we copy and paste it down here, and then just change the IDs from sun1 to mun1, from sun2 to mun2, sun3 to mun3, and sun4 to mun4. That will disable the next row, all of the text areas for Monday, the four text areas for Monday. And you can get the gist here. You're going to copy and paste that again for Tuesday. You're going to do it again for Wednesday. You're going to do it again for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And that's the end of the keep my stuff function. All right, moving right along. Next we have the function remove my stuff. And this button right here, remove it, in the middle is going to call the function called remove my stuff. So first of all, we have document.getElement by ID sun1.value equals, and we have a single quotes with nothing in it. We're going to do the same thing for the next text area, document.getElement by ID sun2.value equals, and this means nothing. Double or single quotes with nothing in it basically makes it blank. Document.getElement by ID sun3.value equals nothing. And document.getElement by ID sun4.value equals nothing. So these four statements are going to handle one aspect of removing the information from this text area, this text area, this text area, and this text area. And like everything else, we're going to copy and paste and then change sun1 to mun1, sun2 to mun2, sun3 to mun3, and sun4 to mun4. So that we're dealing with all of the text areas in the Monday row. I'm going to do the same thing for Tuesday, the same thing for Wednesday, same thing for Thursday, same thing for Friday, same thing for Saturday. Furthermore, we're going to use the localStorage.remove item, and we're going to remove the key from the key value pair. So this is going to help us officially remove the key value pair that local storage saved. This way we're going to use local storage and remove it. We don't have to put both the key and the value, we just have to remove the key, and by removing the key we remove the value as well. So localStorage.remove item keysun1 in in single quotes and in the parentheses. I'm going to do it again. localStorage.remove item keysun2, local storage remove item keysun3, local storage remove item keysun4. So that's removing the keys to the key value pairs for the first, the second, the third, and the fourth text area in the Sunday row. And you know where we're going with this. We're going to copy and paste this whole batch right here. We're going to copy and we're going to paste it down here, and we're just going to change the name of the key. So instead of keysun1, we got keymun1, keymun2, keymun3, keymun4. And you're going to take that, you're going to copy it, you're going to paste it down here, and you're going to go key 2, 1, key 2, 2, key 2, 3, and key 2, 4, or whatever these are just my made up names. I know that I'm dealing with the key, I know that I'm dealing with the Tuesday row, and I know that I'm dealing with column 1. I know I'm dealing with the key, the Tuesday row, column 2. That's just how I decided to name these. You name these whatever you want, as long as you stay consistent. You take all of that, you copy and paste it down here, and then you save your whatever keys that you created for Wednesday's key value pairs. Down here, again, localStorage.remove item, and in the parentheses and single quotes, put the key, the name of the key for the key value pairs here regarding Thursday's row. Here regarding Friday's row, here regarding Saturday's row, and here's the ending curly brace that actually finishes off the function called RemoveMyStuff. Now we have a function called LoadMyStuff. This is going to load everything up when you first open the page. If anything's been saved in local storage, this is going to load it as the page loads. So var stored value 1, this is an entirely new variable name, equals localStorage.getItem, and put that first key for that key value pair, which in this case is keysun1. And there's the semicolon, so there's the end of the statement. Var stored value 1 equals localStorage.getItem keysun1. End of statement. Then we have an if statement here. If stored value 1, so basically if there is a stored value 1, if there's a value in there, if that's true, then in these curly braces right here, document.getElementById, sun1, that's the ID for this particular text area, dot value equals stored value 1. Okay, so those are the two main statements that you need for the LoadMyStuff. And like everything else we've been doing, you just take these two statements, both this statement right here and this statement right here, and don't forget after the if statement, I could go like that to show you that these are two separate statements. There's one statement, and this if, what's in the parentheses is the condition, and what's in the double quotes is what's going to happen if this condition is true. So you have the if, the condition, and then what executes inside the curly braces. So both of these statements have to be copied and pasted down here. You don't have to have that space there. I just wanted to indicate the separation between the two individual statements, that you must have both. So you copy this, you paste it down here, and you just change the name. The first thing we named stored value 1, so naturally it's easy to just increment that up to stored value 2. The key, keysun2. If stored value 2, if there's something stored there, then document.getElementById sun2.value equals stored value 2. Copy that, paste it down here, change from stored value 2 to stored value 3, change from key sun 2 to key sun 3, if stored value 3, and then down here you're going to change sun 2 to sun 3, and value equals stored value 3. So again, another copy and paste there and here. Just keep on doing it till you get every single one of these text areas, which again we're dealing with 28 of them. So you're going to do this: stored value 6, stored value 7, stored value 8, blah blah blah, all the way to stored value 28, which is right here. This is the last one for the last text area. Var stored value 28 equals local storage dot get item key sat4. That's the key to the key value pair for this one right here, where I'm typing a bunch of G's in. This is for Saturday, and the column is 4, so I named it key sat4. So there's that statement, and then if stored value 28 document.getElement by ID sat4, that's the actual element ID name, which I'll show you once we get into the body, dot value equals stored value 28. And there's the end of load my stuff. Now on 372, I'm going to come back to line 372, but first let me show you the body. Body here, this is the opening body tag. Body on load equals load my stuff. This is how we let the page, as the page loads, it's going to call that function load my stuff to ensure that if anything's been saved using local storage, that it's going to load it into these text areas. This is what's going to give it its memory. All right, so let me go back up to that line I said, line 372. These functions are going to deal with this button that I have right here that's just a white button. I didn't stylize it at all, and I just put the question on the face, storage left. Local storage, I've seen a few different things depending on the browser, but local storage I think any browser will hold 5 megabytes of storage, and anything above that I think you'll get an error message. Well, I don't know what that means. What does it mean that it holds 5 megabytes? How many megabytes is the word eggs? How many megabytes is the word bacon? How many megabytes is this little sentence? I don't know how to explain that. I don't know the answer to that. Well, I wound up finding a code, and I hope it's accurate because I'm making a video on it. It gave me this for loop right here that is supposed to let me know how much is being used currently, so that I can estimate how much I have left, or if I'm getting close to the capacity, at which point when I get to a certain capacity it's not going to keep functioning in the way that it's functioning right now. So it's kind of important to know that. For a little page like this, it's probably not a very big deal, but if you were handling hundreds of pages like this for hundreds of people, and all of this was being handled with your one little piece of code, I don't know that it would work well for very long. But just for your own personal use and something small like this, I don't think it's a big deal. So let me go over this function. Again, here's my note, trying to see how much local storage is used, starting with line 373. Function, how much is left. When I click this white button that says storage left, it's going to call this function how much is left. So the first line I created, var total equals 0. So I created a variable with the name of total, and I set it to an initial value of 0. Then I created another variable with a name of full and set it equal to 5.0. This is assuming that the browser will store 5.0 megabytes of data before the code falls apart. So this number is going to be the value of this variable. Then I created another variable here called leftover, and I set that to an initial value of 0. So we have total equals 0, full equals 5.0, and leftover equals 0. On line 378, let me move this up a bit, we have a for loop. Var x in local storage, then that goes from here to here. I can make a space here. This is the for loop. For var x in local storage, var amount, now we're creating another variable. Here we're creating a variable with the name of amount, equals, and I don't know how to explain this because, and let me even open it up some, because this is code that I got from online and it appears to work, but I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain these numbers. So I'm just going to show you the code. Again, var amount equals local storage, then you have x like an array symbol or like an indice in these square brackets, dot length times 2. All of that's in one set of parentheses. Local storage x dot length times 2. Then you have the division symbol divided by 1024 and another division symbol divided by 1024. I'm saying that these are division symbols because I don't know what else they would be if they're not. So there is one statement right there. And then here's another statement where I take the variable total and I add it to whatever the amount is, and then that also goes into total. So total starts off as 0, and whatever the amount is, like if total is 0, let's say, and let's just pretend amount is 10. Initially, 10 is going to go into the value of total, and now total equals 10 instead of 0. Well, since this is a loop, it's going to go again, and let's say the next amount is 5. Well, that's going to be added to 10, which is going to be 15, so then the new value of total is going to be 15. So that's how that plus equal symbol works. It takes whatever the value of this is, and it adds it to whatever this is, and puts the grand total back into this. I hope that wasn't too confusing. And then in line 383, we have document.write, whatever the value of x is at the time, plus this string, which is a space and equals and a space, plus the value of amount, dot to fixed, and 10 in parentheses means that whatever the value of amount is, we are going to fixed, we're going to give it decimal points, and we're going to give it 10 decimal places. So if the value of amount was 15, then 15 with a fixed decimal place of 10 would be 15.0000, 10 times. That's what the output would be. Plus, we're going to add another string, and that's going to be capital letters MB for megabytes, and this BR tag is going to let us break down a line. So that's basically the for loop. There's the end to this for loop right here. So that's all that is a for loop. After the for loop, for all the different variables that we created in local storage, this is supposed to show us all the amounts of that. This is supposed to total up all the amounts, all the different amounts. Every time a new amount goes in, it's supposed to go into this total variable. And here we're going to show with each iteration of the loop the value of x, which x again is going to be each particular thing that's being saved in local storage. This is going to be each of the values with 10 decimal places for each one, and the letters MB for megabyte, and this is going to go down a line for the next one to show. Line 387, document.write. Here we have a break tag so that we get another line, and we have this long string that says the total local storage used in this particular web browser at this given time is and then we're going to concatenate the value of total dot to fixed 10, which means we're going to get the value of total with 10 decimal places plus however many megabytes, so we get this MB, and then we have two break tags so that we go down one line and go down another line, so we actually have a space. So we have a line and then a space and then a line. In line 389, we're taking the value of leftover, which up here starts at 0, equals full. Remember, full is the capacity that we're assuming the browser to have, 5.0 megabytes, minus total being all the different things that we've saved. What are their values in megabytes? That's what this line of code is supposed to do. This for loop and this math equation right here, somehow that is supposed to show us a megabyte value. I don't know how to explain that, so I'm not even going to try. But anyway, if you take that 5.0 megabytes and subtract whatever the total value that this line tells us, these things that I've typed in here, what the value of those are. You do that subtraction problem, and then that should let us know how many megabytes we have left over for local storage to continue to work properly in our browser. Okay, so then in line 391 we have document.write. The value of full dot to fixed 10 decimal places, which remember full was set to 5.0. So this right here should say 5.000 for 10 decimal places. Megabytes is the presumed storage capacity for local storage in a certain web browser. Line, blank line, blank line. Break tag, break tag. Line 394, document.write. Leftover to fixed. Again, leftover is going to be the 5.0 megabytes minus however many megabytes that this code is supposed to tell us these words are that we typed in here. And so leftover value is going to be there, whatever number that is, plus the string. Megabytes is the amount of local storage that you have left over in this particular browser at this time. So the leftover is going to tell you what you have left before the code will start acting stupid. Okay, so there's the end of the function, how much is left. And again, this was just my note to myself that this whole thing was trying to see how much local storage is used based on what's been typed in here using the functions here and using local storage. So there's the end of the script. So we're done with all the functions that we wanted to deal with. There's the end of the head. There's the beginning of our body in line 401. Again, we use the onLoad equals loadMyStuff to call that function when this page first loads, when we first open it in a browser. So now let's get down to the elements that you actually see. We have a table tag. We have a TR, which means table row. We have a TH with a call span of 5, which means that we have a table header tag with a call span of 5, which is this top area right here. Inside the table header tags, as you can see, we have this image from here to here. Image, source, journal heading.ping. That's giving me this nice little starry image that I created in Paint that stretches from left to right 100%. So there's our first row. Here's our second row. From line 406 all the way to 421, that's table row. In the second table row, we have a TH tag, which means table header. So in this first table header, we have one button. Input type equals button, ID equals save button, value equals save it, on click equals SaveMyStuff. So you click on that button that says save BTN on the face of it. Actually, the ID is save BTN. The value that you see on it is save it in capitals. So from there to there, there's that top button. From here to here, there's the middle button. Input type equals button, ID equals remove, BTN, value equals remove it, on click equals remove my stuff. So you click on that middle button that says remove it, and it calls the remove my stuff function. In line 412, we've got the third button. Input type equals button, ID equals keep btn, value equals keep it. See, it says keep it. On click equals keep my stuff. So it calls the function keep my stuff that we went over. And on line 414, we have the last button here. Input type equals button, ID equals storage btn, value equals storage left with a question mark, and you can see it right here. It doesn't have any styling. I didn't give it a CSS style. I just let it keep its, I just wanted it to stand out from the other buttons, because this function, trying to figure out how much storage is left based on what all we typed in here, I wanted to keep that visually separate because it's a completely different thing that we're doing. Unclick how much is left, and there's the end of the table header tag. And here's another table header tag in the same row. We're in the same TR, because here's the TR right here. We've got one table header with all the buttons, another table header with the word 1, as you can see right here, and another table header with 2, table header with the word 3, and table header with the word 4. So those table headers are basically giving us these columns 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the first table header is just a place for us to stash our buttons, our function buttons. So there's the end of that first table row, or actually, I'm sorry, the second table row. That was the first table row. There's the second table row. Starting in line 424, we have this table row that goes from 424 to 446. And here's a table header. Div, class equals Z, end div. Inside the div tag, we have the word Sunday. And there's the ending table header. So we have a table header, and we have a div inside of it with the text that says Sunday. We gave that div the class equals Z, which, if you recall, if I go back up to the top where the style is, .z means style Z. And that's where we used all this, so that this words Sunday, Monday, Tuesday will all get this special style. It'll have this little diagonal rotation with a yellow background and a border around the div that it's in. It's actually styling the div that's holding the word Sunday inside. Let me go back down to where I was. Okay. So there's that table header. And after the table header, which the TH tag has a background color of tan, now we're getting into just our plain old TD tags, which means table data cell. And here's where in every one of these table data cells, I didn't give it a special background color. I left it plain. And I have a text area tags, opening text area tag and closing text area tag. But the opening text area tag has an ID equals Sun1. And the text area is what you can type in. There's the end of that table data cell. Here's the next table data cell with the next text area with an ID of Sun2. Text area tag inside of this text area tag. Table data, TD tags is table data cell. So here's the table row, table header, a div inside of that, table data cell, text area 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 inside of that. And each of these IDs, they all have to have their own exclusive, unique IDs, because this is how our code identifies each block that we can type inside of. If we had them all with the same name, the code wouldn't know which element on the page we're referring to save or to remove or whatever. So they have to have their IDs. And there's the end of that table row. So here you see 4 table data cells with 4 different IDs, text areas with the IDs. So that's giving us the Sunday text area in the first column, the Sunday text area in column 2, the Sunday text area in column 3, the Sunday text area in column 4. That handles all 4 of those. The next table row is a copy and paste of what we just showed you, except this time instead of Sunday, we have Monday in there, and we have the IDs all relating to Monday. Mon 1, Mon 2, Mon 3, and Mon 4. We take all of that from the table row to the table row tag, copy and paste that, paste it all right here, and then make sure this says Tuesday and the IDs are 21, 22, 23, and 24. Copy and paste it all right here and make sure we're dealing with Wednesday and the Wednesday IDs. Here, all of this code deals with Thursday and Thursday IDs. And all of this, again, more copy and paste, just changing Friday and Friday IDs. And last but not least, our last table row deals with our Saturday. So Saturday and our Saturday IDs. End of table, end of body, end of HTML. So you save that. Let me move this. Whoops. Let me move this back so that I have all of these in thirds. Let me right click this, show window side by side. All right. You would think that because I'm done with all the code from top to bottom that I would actually be done with this video, but I'm actually not. I've got a little more explaining to do because I haven't clicked this storage left button and let you see what happens. I have clicked the save it for both. You see that Firefox has saved something totally different than what Chrome has saved. And again, this is the exact same web page here, journal.html. I have one web page. The only difference is that I've launched one in Firefox and one in Chrome. But let's click storage left. Maybe I should actually move this. Let me minimize this for a second. And let me just have these two side by side. Give us a little more room. If I click storage left here, again, this is in Firefox. This is the name for the key. When I told you we had to create a key value pair for local storage to work, I don't understand the order that it puts this in. Key Mon 3, key Sat 4, key Sat 1, key Fry 3. I would think that key Mon 1, key Mon 2, key Mon 3, key Mon 4 would all be in an order, but that's not the case. So I don't know what rhyme or reason that it actually calls each one of these keys for the key value pairs and showing how many megabytes this was. So key Mon 3, where would that be? Well, look at the Monday, and this is 1 column, 2 column, and 3 columns. So for Mon 3, the key for this text area is key value pair for local storage. There's nothing typed in here. So it's given a value of 0.1. Let's count how many zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember I had the 10 in parentheses and I told you that was giving us 10 decimal places? Well, that's why. If I were to have a 2 in those parentheses, we'd only have 2 decimal places. But anyway, that's showing that the value for this key is 0 megabytes. Now if I take this and I type in it A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I've typed 7 characters. Okay, now I'm going to you know what? I apologize because here I am looking over here and trying to compare it with what's over here, and that's not going to work because for the simple reason, this is Google Chrome. This is Firefox. So key Mon 3, remember that it says 0, okay? This very first one, key Mon 3 equals 0. Let's hit the back button. Key Mon 3 right here would be for here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So now I've typed something in key Mon 3. I'm going to hit save it. I'm going to hit storage left. Now you can see that the value for key mon 3 has went from zeros to 0.0000133,514 megabytes. And I don't know how to explain how these numbers came about. I just know that it changed from 0 megabytes to a certain amount of megabytes. Now, KeySat 4 is showing a certain number of megabytes. So if we hit this back button, let's look at KeySat 4. Let's go down here, Saturday 4. This is where I've got a bunch of G's in here. Let me go back to storage left. Sunday, there should be a value for key sun 1, key sun 2, key sun 3, and key sun 4. Let's hit storage left and look for that. Key sun 2 has a value. Key sun 3 has a value. Key sun 1 has a value. And key sun 4 has a value. Let's go back. Thursday and Friday. So for key thur 1 through 4 and key fry 1 through 4 should have nothing. So let's go back to that. Thursday and Friday. Let's look at here. Key fry 3, nothing. Looking for Fridays here. Fry 4, nothing. Where's Friday? Here's fry 2, nothing. And fry 1, nothing. Also Saturday. Let's look up all 4 Saturdays. Wait, I'm sorry. Was it Saturday? No, Thursday has nothing. All the Thursdays have nothing. Let's go back. Hit storage left again. So let's look up all the Thursdays. Key Thurs 3, nothing. Key Thur 2, nothing. Key Thur 4, nothing. And Key Thur 1, nothing. No value. So we're seeing some type of value if we have something typed in our text area, and we're using the key value out of the key value. We're using the key, the name of the key that we created in the key value pair that local storage will refer to something that's been typed in here. And if there's nothing typed in here, then we see that its value is set to 0. There's nothing going on there. So again, hit storage left again. In my function, I wanted the information to pop out was in sentence form. The total local storage used in this particular web browser at this given time. This is curious to me because this is showing megabyte values for each one of these areas, but when it came time to doing the math and then giving us a number followed by the MB to stand for megabytes, instead I got the NAN, which means not a number. So there's something missing in my code as far as Firefox is concerned, because it didn't do the math for me. The total local storage, it didn't add up all of these decimal values and tell me how much total is it using. It didn't do that. This is the second statement that I wanted to output. 5.000 for 10 times, 10 zeros. MB is the presumed storage capacity for local storage in a certain web browser. And then I wanted to see what was left over. So I expected, instead of NAN for not a number, I expected 5.00000 minus whatever these numbers total together would tell me how many megabytes I have left for this local storage to work in Firefox. But so you see that even though I did the code, for whatever reasons, I have to correct my code so that Firefox gives me the output I'm looking for. I want all of these added up, and I want to know how many megabytes are left for local storage. Now, this was how Firefox ran it. Let me show you how Google Chrome ran it. I'm going to hit storage left here, and you're going to see when I find the key value pair, like Sun1, Sun2, key Sun1, key Sun2, key Sun3, key Sun4, there's nothing in any of these text areas, so the values to that should be 0 megabytes. Monday for Mun1, Mun2, and Mun4, key Mun1, key Mun2, and key Mun4 should have values, but key Mun3 should be 0. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, none of those keys should have any value. Should all be 0. All of Saturdays should be 0. And only Friday, key Fry1, should show any megabytes. But in Google Chrome, the last 3 sentences that I wrote, which in Firefox, instead of giving me values, it gave me NaN for not a number on the first sentence and the last. Chrome, on the other hand, gives me a value. So let me hit here. Okay, so, and another funny thing too is Chrome is picking up keys to other web pages that I've saved information, because here you see May Cable, May Car, May Electric, May Food. I have no keys with these names in this particular journal.html page that I'm working on, but Chrome is picking up the values because in those pages I used local storage in my code. And so the browser knows that somewhere on this computer using this browser, it has saved a value for these elements. But like I said, I was confused in Firefox why they so randomly pulled out the names of the keys. It's nicer in Google Chrome because here you see Fry1, Fry2, Fry3, and Fry4. And none of those Friday areas had anything in them, so they're 0.10 zeros of megabytes. Here we have just a key, and I'm not sure. Again, I think that belongs to a different web page that Chrome has saved, has something saved in local storage. Same thing with key 1, key 2, key 3, and key 4. But I know this goes to this page. Actually, I don't even think Fry1, Fry2, Fry3, and Fry4 go to this page because we went over the code and it has the word key in front of it. Key Fry1, key Fry2, key Fry3, key Fry4. Key Fry1 is showing it's showing 0.000648499 megabytes. So let's look up Friday. Let's go back. Oh, I can't go back here. There's no back button. Oh, that kind of stinks. What if I hit refresh? Okay, so if I hit refresh, I go back. So Friday, only the 1 column here, this text area has a value, but not for 2, 3, or 4, not those columns. So let me hit the button again. Key Fry1, right here. It gave me a value for that. Key Mun 1, 2, 3, and 4. If we look carefully at that, 1 had a value, 2 had a value. Key Mun 3 had nothing, 0 megabytes, and 4 had a value. So let's hit the refresh button here and look at all the Mondays. The third Monday should have nothing. Here's our Monday. The first one had something, the second had something, the third definitely has nothing, and the fourth one has quite a bit more than the other 2. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday should have nothing, so let's hit the button again. Tuesday, here's Thursdays. Key Thursday 1 through 4, nothing. Here's Tuesdays 1 through 4, nothing. And Wednesday, keyword 1, keyword 2, keyword 3, keyword 4, all of those have 0 megabytes. Mun 1, Mun 2, Mun 3, and Mun 4 has to be to a different web page. Text key and text key 2, that's to a different web page. Actually, all of these are to a different web page. All of this. That's all local storage that the browser saved that belongs to something different than what we're looking at. And these are all different. All of those are different. Only thing that applies to this particular web page is it says key first, then the name of the column. So there's our Fridays, there's our Mondays, here's our Saturdays, here's our Sundays, here's our Thursdays, here's our Tuesdays, and there's our Wednesdays. So this highlighted stuff is what our table for this page is dealing with. All right, again, this is how Google Chrome is reading our function code for that button. Now if I go down further, let's look at the three sentences. The total local storage used in this particular web browser at this given time is, now in Firefox it says NAN MB, not a number megabytes, and this one actually calculated it for us. 0.000522613 megabytes. The second statement in Firefox said 5 point, and it gave us 10 zeros, megabytes is the presumed storage capacity for local storage in a certain web browser. And here's the same sentence showing in Google Chrome. 5 point, and we've got our 10 decimals. MB is the presumed storage capacity for local storage in a certain web browser. And again, in Firefox, NAN for not a number megabytes is the amount of local storage that you have left over in this particular browser at this time. But in Chrome, we have 4.9994773.865 megabytes is the amount of local storage that you have left over in this particular browser at this time. So the code that I got from the internet, not fully understanding how we reach the value of megabytes by characters, and not fully understanding how Chrome does the math for us and Firefox gives us the not a number error. Hopefully I'll figure out what conversions I need to do so that the math comes out correct for Firefox's output. But in the meantime, it appears that this code does in fact show us the value to our saved keys, and it is specific to the browser that they were each saved in. Again, I can in Firefox I can hit the back button and it goes to the original page. Then I can hit the storage again and gives us this information. Go back, and I can go back and forth that way. I can make a change. In Firefox, I'm going to change Monday key Mon1. It's originally 0 right now. I'm going to put a bunch of Z's. I'm going to hit save it. I'm going to go to storage left. Key Mon1 is what I'm looking for. Key Mon1. There's the new megabytes of value for what I just typed in that text area. Same thing with this. I'm going to hit. And this, in Firefox, I was able to hit the go back button. In Chrome, I have to hit the refresh arrow to go back and forth, toggle back and forth. Sunday, there's nothing here for key Sun1. Let me type in a bunch of A's and hit save it. Go to storage left again. Key Sun1, right here is the new value for the A's that I just typed in there. And so of course that's going to change my final number right here, how much I have left. I didn't memorize that number, but I know it did the math. And this, yeah, I have to figure out how to fix that. I'm sure it has to do with a conversion before it did the math problem. So this was kind of longer than I anticipated, but I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, if you want to use local storage for a journal or a menu thing or a physical fitness thing or whatever, it's kind of important to know that there's kind of a limit to it before you have an issue. Also, I think, let's see what happens if this is Firefox. Let me clear my history. I want to clear everything. Clear now. Clearing. I'm curious if that gets rid of stuff. Clear all history. Looks like stuff is still here. If I hit refresh, stuff is still here. Storage left. Oh, this changed things. Instead of getting that long list that I had, this now is only showing key, get item, set item, remove item, clear, length, the 3 statements. It's still showing not a number, but it's not showing me all those keys for the key value pairs like it showed before. Let's do the set. Now this was Firefox, how that dealt with that. Let's see about Chrome. Well, before I do that, let's do this. Let me open up a notepad real quick. Okay. And this is what is supposedly the what local storage is left in Chrome before I delete my browsing history. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to the history. I just want to clear the history, cache, and all that good stuff, and see how our code output changes. Clear browsing data. And again, I want to clear everything from the beginning of time. Clear it. Again, I'm going through all the motions of this as a way to test my code. And I think I've cleared. I'm going to click it one more time just to be sure. Okay. I'm going to refresh this page to go back to the beginning. So we still have the stuff that I saved. There's the bunch of A's, and this is what I started off with. So I still have that stuff. And let me hit storage left. Let's go down and see if that changed that number at all. This was the number. Let's put that right underneath so we can easily match it up. So actually it hasn't done anything to the value of local storage. I was able to clear my history and all that good stuff, but the local storage is still holding on to those values, still holding on to the key, the name of the key value pair, still giving us the same output that the function created. The only one thing I could try just to triple check is I can close out of both of these completely, and even close out of the Notepad++. Let me go back in here, right click journal.html, edit with Notepad. Now run in Firefox and run in Chrome. Let's get those two browsers back up and do one final button click and see what the output is. I'm waiting on. This is the Google Chrome. And this is Firefox. Firefox is empty. Nothing in Firefox. Let me hit right click, side by side. You see, Firefox is completely emptied out. Hasn't saved anything. Google Chrome still has stuff saved. So this could very well be something in the settings that I can't jump to right this second, but something in the settings may be the difference between saving the stuff even after you've cleared it or not. So obviously when I hit storage left, it's funny because I still see numbers here, but I don't see any keys for the key value pairs, and the NAN of course hasn't changed because I haven't changed anything in the code to make that happen. But let's hit storage left for Google Chrome. Go back down. Let's check this number again. Copy, where's my notepad? And again, put it right underneath. And Google Chrome has maintained the local storage values through various testing processes, including clearing the history. So with that, I'm going to conclude this video. I've got a lot more to learn about local storage, but I think I put a good enough example about how all this works, at least to get you started on it.